Hi all, welcome back to more Labyrinth, the extended campaign. So this is part 8, I believe. So I didn't get the chance yesterday to have a shot, and limited to time today as well. So maybe just get this bit started before I have to go and do other things. Uh, but I thought I'd get some comments and things out the way to start with. I eventually got a reply to the question I asked, and just to remind of the question, it was titled. I put it in the title as well because when I was searching for comments on this, which I think others might, then they're going to get a better hit probably because I've actually wrote the whole part, the whole bit of. I've wrote this down. That's the title of it. Boom moves on with 1 to 4 more cells, yada yada yada. So and I said, hi all, I'm using the newer Awakening bot, and I understand that this to mean that this would only be true if a major jihad would be possible in the future. Can someone explain this to me a bit more, please? Because sort of saying, when you read it down here, it does sort of explain to you what it means by the future, if you like. But if you think about it in the future and you think, well, surely any of these could become a major jihad in the future, but I mean, that's me being a bit picky because it does explain it more up down here. I just don't think it explains it clearly enough. Can someone explain this to me a bit more, please? Yeah. And then I followed up with, if the country has no awakening or reaction markers in it, does this make it true? Or maybe if it only has reaction markers, then that makes it true. And we eventually worked out that that was the case. I wasn't sure about. Obviously, reaction markers are beneficial to the jihadists, so they wouldn't interfere with it. But it's awakening markers that are going to cause the trouble. And I want to say that aid marker, just as we're looking at it, that aid marker, I think, is only a modifier for the War of Ideas. It's got WOI on it, so I'm pretty sure that only modifies that. It's just awakening markers that would affect the die roll of the jihadists doing a major jihad. And I was sort of wondering about how many awakening markers would have to be there. Well, that's been confirmed, and we'll get to that later on. To be 3, which is maybe what I suggested, but I wasn't sure at first, to be honest. I thought, is 1 enough to put off? And then when you think about it, when you think about the die roll, it's a 6-sided die roll, and you need, what is it? You need a 3 or less to make it happen. So if there's 3 awakening markers, could that not still succeed? Would it not need to be 4? Right, anyway, okay, we'll come back. We'll come to that. And when the time comes, I'm going to sit and work it out myself and make sure we've got it right. Anyway, so I got a reply from Todd. There is a separate BGG site for the Awakening expansion, which may be useful to you down the road. And maybe this link from the Awakening site will help you. And the link is one of the threads I looked at where the actual designer commented on trying to explain it a bit better. So I replied to Todd, yeah, thanks for your reply and for the link. I'd actually posted this question initially on the Awakening site, but felt it may get better attention here. After checking your link and finding some other threads along the same line, I'm now more comfortable with it. I think this could have been described better in the rules, but I'm now good with how it all works. And yeah, I think so. Let's just, while we now know how it works, let's just look at this. I left my glasses down the stairs, so I've got my computer glasses on, so it's not as easy for me. Right, jihad success possible. This is true if the current awakening/reaction marker. I suppose, the reaction markers cancel out the awakening markers, so I suppose they've got to put them both there. I was thinking, could it not just say awakening markers, because reaction markers are going to make it easier, but anyway. This is true if the current awakening/reaction marker count is such that any future jihad roll there could succeed if the marker count did not change. And I suppose now that I know what it all means, that doesn't sound too bad, actually. It does explain it. And by the way, it's not me that's been caught up with this. There's a few questions and confusion out there from a lot of people one of the big ones is they think it's trying to do a minor jihad, and it would never do a minor jihad in a poor country. So a lot of people saying it's contradicting the rule, etc. Yeah, I do feel like it could have been a bit clearer. But anyway, thanks for your reply there, Todd. Now the other thing was, I got quite a few comments from Tim again. So let me try and catch up with these. Right, this is from part 2. Oh, I think I maybe got these. Did I? A CTR marker can get placed. And by the way, Tim, I'll hopefully going to respond to these in some way. If I do happen to forget, I've spoke about everything that you've said. I replied to your latest ones about part 4 just this morning. I do kind of sort of lose track of that. I don't like to try and reply to it on my tablet, so I prefer to do it on my computer, and I'm not always sitting at my computer. So the CTR marker can get placed by US event. Yeah, I think we read that one already. We read that one already, and that one. Yeah, it was just this one. I don't think I caught up on because it was maybe later posted. At the 45-minute, 44-second mark, it says the US player is not allowed to play jihadist associated cards for the event or vice versa. Yeah, I mean, I think, admittedly, I might have been talking about that, saying, well, we can't play this. Yeah, I think I knew that. I'm not sure. I must have gave the impression that I was, or I must have been talking about it that way. I suppose I could click on the link. He's got the timestamp there, but yeah, I'm good with that. Like I say, whether I suggested otherwise, then yeah, clearly that was wrong. Okay, so moving on. Right, this might be part 3 then. Right, a couple of comments for part 3. And I like he's got it timestamped as well, even though I'm not clicking on it to look at it just now. But it always helps me and others to go and look at what we're talking about. So 18-minute, 30-second mark. He says the purpose of that box in the flowchart, right, okay. This is his explanation here of this, or whether it's this one he's talking about, this one he's talking about, or this one, but I mean, they're both asking the same question. So he gives a good explanation of it here. I think he follows up later on with actually better explanation. But anyway, purpose of that box in the flowchart is to have the bot attempt to move cells into the poor country that has 1 to 4 more cells and troops, so that it can conduct a major jihad there later. Yeah, I mean that explanation in itself is okay, right? I understand that. Not to try and attempt one now, he says, right? Yeah, and that's what you're kind of thinking it means. It's like trying to do it now, but it does say in the future, and yeah. It says if you follow the yes path, you'll see that it is going to possibly attempt to travel, not a major jihad. And I eventually realised this out, that when this is true, it goes here, and I eventually understood what that meant, that it will travel a cell if a cell's adjacent, and the reason it wants to do that, because it's automatic if it's adjacent. So fortunately we get away with a lot of this, because I skipped by this box a few times, and if there had been cells adjacent, I would have been making mistakes here. However, there weren't, so we got lucky. The other thing I got away with was not realising this was an auto-recruit country, but fortunately, because this was the target, that's what I was, I mean, I think Tim would have picked up on it, but I'm slightly concerned, because I sort of later find out that I thought I knew this before. Islamic Rule is also auto-recruit. And I'll come round to that. Tim, in fact, is it not the next one? Yeah, it is. It's the next one. Good. So that's that one. So at the 28-minute mark, he says, auto-recruit countries are Islamic Rule, regime change, civil war, and training camps. Right, civil war is only going to come in the Awakening expansion, so it'll come in Deck 2. I guess when I read the rule for that, it's going to tell me that it can auto-recruit. Training camps is an event, isn't it? And I'm guessing it'll tell me it's an auto-recruit. Now, I understand that regime change is an auto-recruit, but I was just about to post and ask the question to Tim, where does it tell you Islamic Rule is auto-recruit? Although I think I realised that at first. Well, here's the recruit rules, page 10. And it tells you in the recruit rules, it only tells you this in the recruit rules. Regime change recruiting. Recruit rules in regime change country automatically succeed. Now, I was like in the rules, and I know it's like asking for a bit more and whatever, that why not have the 4 things that, well, hold on, civil war is in the expansion, so that wouldn't be put in there, fair enough. Training camps, is that an expansion event? Don't think so. It could have said, and by the training camps event, but it could also have put here, and if the country's Islamist rule, you know, it could have had the 3 things there. Whether, unless training camps is part of the expansion, right? But, I mean, if you just look across here, it's got it in the general heading that any automatic, all rules succeed in Islamic rule. So you don't need to roll a dice when you're doing anything in an Islamist rule. I mean, it does tell you there. I mean, and then, but with that, I did start panicking, thinking, well, that was that Islamist rule, which is it doesn't. Yeah, it does. It starts the game that way, doesn't it? Did I have the chance to recruit in there and maybe not take it? I think I did. I think I realised at the time, if I go back to part 1, or maybe part 2 when I started doing something, I'm pretty sure I would realise that this is... that's a point. Does it say on the... No, it doesn't. Well, no, it wouldn't say auto-recruit, would it? It would say auto-everything, really. But, I mean, how can you put all that on the counter? Anyway, I think I was doing it right there. And then when this changed to regime change, I thought it then wasn't auto-recruit. And, I mean, how could I miss it? It actually has auto-recruit on the actual counter. So, anyway, I think we got away with everything there. Like I say, whether I missed some auto-recruits in Afghanistan at the start, I think Tim would have picked up on it and mentioned that. That's what I'm looking for, somebody to tell me if I do make these mistakes. Hopefully I can try and fix them, and then if not, at least they've been brought to attention. Okay, so yeah, so that's the 4 times: civil war, training camps, regime change, Islamist rule. Okay, he says it looks to me like the bot is always going to choose to place a recruit where it can automatically succeed, rather than place where it would have to roll, unless it has a poor country it can boost up to prepare for major jihad. And that's what it's been doing. That's what it was doing in Iraq. So that's why I was avoiding Afghanistan, doing it in Iraq. Although I didn't realise that this was auto-recruit, so we kind of got away with it, like I said. Okay, and then that was part 3, and then he's got a few more comments, part 4. Yeah. Part 4, yeah. Yes, he starts with, yes, I was involved in 2.1 rules revision for Silent War, and I'm currently working with Brian to update the scenario book and IGN rules. Yeah, I mentioned he was involved in the Silent War. I think I called it the Deluxe Edition. I'm not sure it's that. It's version 2, isn't it? Silent War version 2. I'm looking around here and I'm not seeing it. Anyway, I think I said Deluxe Edition. It might be. It might actually be, because it incorporated the expansion, the IGN expansion, didn't it? Anyway, so yeah, that's good to know. And I said to him, I hope to get around to the game next year sometimes, because I'm pretty sure this is us in November now, so it's not going to start before the end of the year. And it's a big game that's going to sit on the table for quite some time, I think. And I think you can play smaller scenarios with it, so whether I maybe start with something like that, and that might see how we're going. Anyway, carrying on. 35-36 minute mark. Now, he makes 2 comments here at the 35-36 minute mark and the 45-45 minute mark that I did put in the header when I realised. And basically it's the same carry on with both this and this and this. Right, so it's actually a yes, yeah, and I think in the header I actually put that, I actually believe this is a yes, and it's when we're asking this question. So this is the thing that I do put in the header. I know some people watch the videos, they don't notice any comments that I put in the header. It's fair enough, it's just, it's nice for me knowing that I've caught it before somebody else has told me, if you like. And so it's actually a yes. He says Iraq is a poor and this is where it's better explained as well. Iraq is a poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells and troops and militia, and jihad success is possible, meaning there aren't enough awakening markers there to make a jihad roll automatically fail, because it would be impossible to roll a 3 or less. Okay, nice, I like it. Jihad success possible only checks to see if a roll could possibly succeed on a future action, assuming all other criteria are met. It doesn't mean it's possible to do one now. And then he also says, see the definition of JSP in the bottom right corner of the flowchart page. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I certainly didn't find this as clear as what maybe he's just written there. So whether I think it could have been written a bit better, but maybe that's just me. Like I say, I think other folk have struggled a little bit as well, but maybe it's just me. Anyway, he finishes off with, but the box it leads to, which is here, is a no. So you would have ended up at the same place anyway. And yeah, and I realised that we would end up down here because there's no adjacent cells. So I replied, I eventually get around to realising this, and I've left a comment in the header. Thanks for the detailed explanation of how this works though. I wish it was written this way in the rules. And then later on at the 45 minute mark, he says again, you ended up with the right answer, Iraq, but for the wrong reason. Again, Iraq is a poor Muslim with 1 to 4 more cells than troops and militia or JSP. So the first box... this is when we're looking at this one. So the first box in the recruit and travel to op flowchart tells you it will be Iraq. Also, you're reading that second box wrong, and I realised that as well. It's not that I was reading the box wrong, Tim, to be honest. It was I wasn't realising that this was auto recruit. So he says, you're reading the second box wrong. It is saying to choose an auto recruit country with the best jihad DRM. Afghanistan is an auto recruit country. So the first box if the first box had not chosen Iraq, then the second box would have chosen Afghanistan. And that's where I thought, I've made a blunder here. But because we were right here, we got away with that again. So it was a wee bit of luck in the way as well. And I replied, yes, I again eventually realised this, and I have left a comment in the header. So I did get them in the end, but I liked his explanation of it. And then one final thing, he says there would have to be 3 more awakening markers than reaction markers in a poor country to make jihad not possible, because that would give a +3 DRM, make it impossible to roll a 3 or less. So +3, yes, sorry. I'm probably thinking I'm just not getting that one. But yeah, so the least we can roll is a 1, adding +3 grants a 4. So yeah, you can't. Yeah, okay. Terrible maths there. Right, fair enough. So, and that's good as well. Even that in there as well, just to make it clear to you what it's meaning. But I don't know. There's in all these rule books and player aid charts, there's limited room to putting all this stuff down. I understand, and again, it's quite possible that the majority are quite comfortably understanding that what's written there, and it's just the minority, or maybe just me. So 3 awakening markers. So I mean, you could have reaction markers as well, but let's say there's 5 awakening markers and only 2 reaction markers. The die roll then modifier then is +3. So it's not possible. So if we were sitting looking at that, we would not recruit in that country, even though there was cells more than troops. Even though there was 1 to 4 more cells than troops, the fact that it was a +3 modifier on a major jihad roll, we would not recruit in there, because there's no point. I mean, it could happen that could change in the future as well, but what I was wanting to do is, right now, there's no point building up 5 more troops, 5 more cells and troops in that country, if it's then going to have an impossible die roll. So it makes complete sense. I like it. I like understanding these things. And we eventually got there. Right, let me put this tablet back in charge, because it's struggling a little bit, so hang on. Right, so I was just starting to have a glance at my cards here and wondering what I'm going to do. It is my turn. We did get, it's just the start of this turn. Well, actually, it doesn't count turn numbers. It doesn't matter. I don't think that. I want to say this is turn 3, I think. Maybe 4. They've played their first 2 cards. So I was looking at all my cards here and I see these 2. I brought these down a little bit. That's what I was doing when they were unplayable at the time. I then looked out the board and thought, right, what might I want to do? I've got that weak card that can't be played. So could I use that for 3 ops and do something? Then I started to think, right, well, there's we could disrupt in Iraq. We've got +1 aid here, war ideas, +1 aid here, so war ideas. And then I realised, oh, Pakistan's got 5 cells in it. How did that happen? So yeah, we really need to deal with that. Now we do have 6 cells on the troop track, but that's it. I don't know if, it drops us down to drawing only 7 cards next turn. I don't know if there's any other effects, bad effects on us having no troops on the track. But it sort of feels like we really need to do this because this Pakistan will get these weapons of mass destruction. Or sorry, the jihadist player will get access to the weapons of mass destruction if this turns Islamist rule. And there's a pretty high chance of it. Depends what card it draws, but I mean, if it draws a 3 card op card that is not a playable event that's going to attempt major jihad, that's a second option. So if it was a jihadist event that it could play, that would be the only way that we would dodge this. And remember, it's got 2 cards to draw as well. Now, it could draw 1 ops cards. Now, 1 ops cards doesn't allow this, does it? Because there's no Bouzi's regime and it needs 2 successes, so it wouldn't do that. But do we want to take that gamble? I don't think so. No, because it could have 2 attempts as well. Now hold on. No, because if it fails, the cells not go back to the track. They do. It's still a gamble though, isn't it? It's still a huge gamble. Hang on. What am I talking about here? I'm talking rubbish, aren't I? Yeah, you're only bringing the cells in when you're doing a regime change. There's no regime change. All you need to do is deal with some of the cells, and we can disrupt. There's 2 active cells there. Right, sorry, I'm thinking other things. Okay. So, and we need a 3... Well, I mean, we could just use that weak card for 3 ops to disrupt in Pakistan. Is there anything better we could do? We could try War of Ideas in there. It needs to be a neutral or ally Muslim country. Well, it is neutral. If regime change, no, it's not. There's no aid markers in that, so we'd need to roll. Yeah, we'd be rolling on the War of Ideas table. Would there be any modifiers? Attempting shift to good? No, we're attempting shift to fair. There's no penalty. Oh, we'd get a +1 for that. None of that. None of that. That's no good. So we would get a +1, and you need a 5 or a 6 plus to succeed. So we'd need to roll a 4, at least. If we rolled a 3 +1, we'd give us an aid marker in there. But that's risky too, because when it's fair, then they can't carry out a major jihad. It would have to be a minor jihad, isn't it? That's a bit of a gamble too, eh? We're better removing the cells, aren't we? No troops there, so we're not going to gain prestige, but... Yeah, and all these countries being poor, we really need to try and get something, get some fair countries back there, so make it easier to work on. I've only got 3 ops cards in my hand, so that means that majority of the time I'm going to have to put stuff in reserves to try and do stuff. I mean, that's the play of a card, so that means you're only going to get one sort of operation each turn. I think Disrupt's the safest thing, isn't it? It might well mean that they deploying there again, recruiting there again, sorry. I don't think I can. Because all the time we've disrupted before, we've had troops. A non-Muslim country, not Iran, ally or country with at least 2 troops. It's not an ally, it's a neutral. I thought there was another condition for that. Was there not 3? Disrupt. As an ally, or has at least 2 troops, or is non-Muslim. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it does say that it's got to be a Muslim country. A neutral or ally. No, sorry. Looking at the wrong one now. A non... Yeah, sorry. As a non-Muslim country, an ally or a country with at least 2 troops. Yeah, it does say there after all. Sorry. I'm just not reading things properly. So, okay, well that changes that idea then. We can't do that. Now, shifting it to ally, we need to actually have it... Can we do that if it's at fair? Or can we do it if it's at poor? No. How do we shift is that alignment, isn't it? Oh, improve alignment or governance. Right, well, I think you need to... If success, shift neutral to ally or improve allies governance by 1 level. The thing is, you've got 2 plays here though. But I need to get it fair. Well, hold on. We do have another 3 ops card. And what I'm thinking now is, we do a War of Ideas and shift it to ally. Oh, then it's still going to be at 3. Then we use this to disrupt. Or, thing is, do we have to decide? I don't think so. It says, roll on the War of Ideas table. If success, we can shift neutral to ally or improve allies. It needs to be an ally for you to change the governance, Grant. I knew this, by the way. I knew this. It's just all these little things that I noticed when I was reading the rules. I thought, oh, okay, that could catch you out. I mean, I'm saying right here and right now, I was trying to disrupt at first, and now I'm trying to change this to fair, and I can't until it's ally. There's lots of little things like that in this game. It's good, but you got to watch. So, yeah, our only option is to make it... is to move it to ally. Right, so what Benazir Bhutto though? Play if no Islamist rule within 1 country of Pakistan, no jihad there. So that locks it in for good, doesn't it? This is a permanent event that sits in play. It's not a lapsing one, it just says mark and remove. So no jihad there. If at poor, shift to fair, block Musharraf, blocked by Bhutto's shot. I want to say we maybe seen Bhutto's shot go by, did we not? Maybe not. Maybe that was something else. Somebody else that got shot. So hang on. Play if no Islamist rule within 1 country of Pakistan. Right, hold on, Grant. This is about Pakistan. Play if no Islamist... Right, there's no Islamist rule at all, so it's playable. Right, and this is what slightly confuses me. no jihad there. No, it's got to be Pakistan. And it's talking a Pakistani movement, fights both extremism and military rule. And sorry, I don't know who Benazir Bhutto was. Well, I'm guessing she maybe gets shot, so yeah, sorry for my ignorance there, but is it Pakistan leader or I don't know. So well, you could actually look at the event grant. That's what they're for. What number is it? 33. 33. Well, I'll just read it out just now, and if we play it, it's been read out. So, these glasses are rubbish. They're good for sitting in front of a computer, but they're not working here. Benazir Bhutto, 2007, whatever her faults as previous Prime Minister of Pakistan, there you go, explained, Benazir Bhutto used her popularity to simultaneously face down Musharraf's cling to power and any national temptation towards religious militancy. She thus promised a surge forward in legitimate and secular governance that the jihadists could not risk. Okay. So, isn't it safer just playing that card for the event? Because then there's no jihad there. If it poor, shift to fair. It's covering all bases. Let's just double check. Card 33. No, there's nothing in the instructions for the bot. This seems like really what to do, isn't it? No jihad there. And I'm assuming when it says jihad, it means either jihad or major jihad. I mean, the thing is, the rules talk about a jihad as being either one, and sometimes they just mention jihad. I mean, because even the issue we've been having with us, which is what the initial confusion, initially when you first read it, is maybe your initial confusion. It's a poor Muslim country, you know. Minor jihad can't be in a poor Muslim country, whereas major jihad can. But what does it say about jihad success possible? Well, that's what it says. It doesn't say major jihad success possible. It just says jihad. So combining, like linking that up with this here, I assume that there's no jihad at all available in Pakistan. No, that's the wrong one. Just looking at on the player aids, it calls this a jihad, and it calls this major jihad. But you can see the bit that I've just read in the rule book, when it talks about jihadist operations. Well, here we go. Page 10, I think this confirms it. 8.4, jihad. A jihad operation targets governance and aids. The target countries must be Muslim, blah, blah, blah. Rather than read through all that, then you've got these two different things, minor jihad and major jihad. So if that just says jihad on the card, that covers 8.4 to me and covers both of them. So we're going with that. If I've got that wrong, then something's written wrong, either on the card or in the rules. No jihad there. If it poor, shift to fair, and then block Musharraf, blocked by Bhutto's shot. So yeah, I think she's going to go and play, and if an event comes along, Bhutto's shot, well, she's going away, and then that'll open up Pakistan again. But this is a good way of stopping these weapons of mass destruction. I think we play this, don't we? Yeah, I'm playing that. First of all. Okay, so play if no Islamic rule within one country of Pakistan. There is no Islamic rule within one country of Pakistan. So no jihad there. And my guess is there a wee counter? No, Indo-Pak talks, no. Right, well, there must be a card, Benazir Bhutto. Actually, I brought all them out, didn't I? these little events. Right, hang on. Is there a Benazir Bhutto? There is indeed. So there's Benazir Bhutto. I don't know if that's focusing or not, because I can't hardly see with the glasses. I think that's it there. So it says no jihad, and then the square brackets means what card what it's blocking. So it blocks Musharraf, if we ever see that. And then on the other side is Bhutto's shot, and that would block Benazir. But my take, I think, I'll just double check on this, but if anybody wants to say, I mean, that kind of makes sense if you think about it thematically, that this event could still come along and block Benazir, which is the one that we're putting in, well, it should really say Benazir Bhutto, I think. Anyway, maybe space restrictions there. So if this event comes along, we then flip that to there, and it blocks, blocked by Bhutto's shot, so then it would take that out, I think. I think so. Okay, so I'm going to put the counter in Pakistan. I think that seems, rather than putting it up in the events and play, because we want to remember there. Okay, and then if it poor shift to fair, so we're going to shift Pakistan from poor neutral to fair neutral, and while we're doing that, we're going to drop that down by 1 and raise that by 1. And then that's it. And we block an event, and obviously if that Bhutto shot comes along and gets played, then boom, she's gone. I'm gonna look that up, but if somebody wants to comment, is that right? If the Bhutto shot event gets played, because it says block Musharraf, but blocked by Bhutto shot. So my take is Bhutto shot can still be played, and then that gets removed. That sounds right. And if you think about what's happening, she's been shot. So surely she should go away. I don't know if she was killed with that or not. I'm not sure. Again. Okay, so that's my first card play. Well, I'll be able to squeeze one in. And battery's really going as well. I should really not, I think. That's a bit of a tricky place to leave it though, Grant. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to just take a pause there for now, because got other things that I need to be doing as well. So hopefully I'll come back. Well, you know what? What I'll do is I'll put that on card 2 of the US. Whether I'll look up there and remember or not, but I can always just double check on the video here. Okay, I'll be back later. Cheers. Hi all. Right, this is a continuation of part 8, I think, and I want to say we've got 38 minutes in there. So following day, I was watching back part 6, and it's still when I had my slight confusion about auto-recruit countries, I think. And I've seen a bit, I've got it marked on my phone at the 4-minute mark just to check, because I auto-recruited in Afghanistan at that time, which was maybe you should look back on that, but hang on a sec. Yeah, and it's me just not on board yet with this whole what are auto-recruit countries. I mean, it's quite clear regime change are, although I seem to bypass that because it actually says it on the counter. However, Islamist Rule, I want to say I started the game thinking it was auto-recruit, but I might even be making that up, and I've just not been aware of it. But it does say in the rulebook, although it doesn't say it under recruit, it says that any die rolls in an Islamist rule country are successes, so you don't even need to roll the dice. I mean, it makes some sense. They're in control of it, so anything that they want to do there, they should be able to do. So at the 4-minute mark of part 6, I'm doing a recruit operation. Iraq is under Islamist rule, and Afghanistan is regime change. Afghanistan has a cadre marker, no cells, and Iraq has 4 active cells. So I come to the chart, And we come my way down here. Would we even be looking at this bit? Because that is Islamist rule, Iraq. So that can't do any jihads. Afghanistan could, but it's not got one to four more cells than troops. Remember, it's only got a cadre, and the troops are still there. So that would be a no. Fund and moderate, cell available, recruit. Right. So then we come across there. This wouldn't apply, and I come to here, and then auto recruit, and I don't consider Iraq. I'm kind of hoping to get away with this. I've not looked at it yet. Because Iraq's Islamist rule with 4 cells in it, like I say, Afghanistan's regime change with a cadre marker in it, and I automatically go for Afghanistan because it's auto. I know it's auto recruit because it says it on the chat. Okay, so if this was, so it says if recruit auto recruit with best jihad DRM. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know where. Right, hang on. Well, let's look at jihad and see what diro modifiers can come into that then. I mean, there's nothing. Or could this be based on thingly markers again? Is that just what it means? Well, it's got diro modifiers down the bottom, and it says they apply. Hang on, that's they apply to awakening, and forever war. That's the symbols for that, isn't it? I think, because the actual base game symbol is just one of the little daggers, like well, it's like a dagger like that. That's the base game symbol, and these symbols there are for awakening and forever war. And my guess is if I look up 11.1.3 in the awakening rules, I'm going to find talk of awakening markers and reaction markers. I'm at 11.1.3. 1.1.3. Each awakening marker adds. Yeah, here it is. Here, I mean, page 3 of the awakening rules. So here, yeah. Each awakening marker adds 1, and each reaction marker subtracts 1 to any war of ideas, jihad or major jihad diros in that country. These modifiers don't affect plots or other operations in NMA. An equal number of awakening or reaction markers cancel out the respective modifiers, but the markers remain unless adjusted by other events or conditions. It's possible that one side will have so many of these markers in a country that success in a given operation is automatic or impossible. So yeah, so when that asks... So when that asks if recruit or recruit with best jihad DRM, it's looking for, is there any reaction markers? If there was a reaction marker in Iraq and not one in Afghanistan, then it would pick the reaction marker. But there's none of them, so we move on. Good Muslim. Well, no, they were both poor. Fair Muslim with best jihad DRM. That's fair Muslim. Now, I want to say, did we not have this changed to fair at some point? Let me just double check. I've got the video paused where I'm at. Let's just have a look at that. No, Afghanistan is poor at the time, and of course this isn't poor, this is Islamist rule, right? So we move on by that. Non-Muslim, there's none of them. Poor Muslim with best jihad DRM. Well, again, the best jihad DRM bit doesn't count because we've not got awakening reaction markers. However, poor Muslim, so not Islamist rule. Okay, so we got away with that. Yeah, so I wouldn't have recruited in there. Even though these are both auto-recruit countries, it comes through that flowchart, ends here with poor Muslim and best jihad DRM. This is only poor Muslim. This was Islamist rule, poor Muslim. So we got away with it. Good. Again, maybe somebody might have... Well, actually, no, I've not released that video yet, I don't think. No, I haven't, because I took note of that I was watching it last night. Okay. So I think we're okay. I think we've been getting away with these errors, which is quite lucky, really. because I like things to all go right, and I like to fix things if I get things wrong, but it looks like I'm the luck's on my side. Okay, right, I was glancing at, it's still our turn. We played Benazir Bhutto, which seemed like pretty strong. There was something on my mind about that. What was I thinking about that? Just seems like a really strong card to have, because they can't jihad now in Pakistan. I mean, I know the event could come along, Bhutto shot, but if it doesn't, my take is the rest of the game, Pakistan's just going to have to, be like that, isn't it? I will need to watch though. There is five cells in there. Now the country's fair neutral. Just to check about maybe removing a couple of these cells. Well, there's 2 of them active. So can I do that? Remove cells of cadre gain prestige. Well, there's no troops here. A non-Muslim country, not Iran, ally or country with at least 2 troops. No, I can't unless I move it to ally. So that's what I got hung up with before, didn't I? I mean, I don't think it's. I mean, wait, you see, they could just draw off the top Bhutto shot, and then that goes away, and then they do a major jihad, and the weapons of mass destruction are in place. So we will need to we can't ignore that, even though it looks like it's covered. But I mean, there is 120 cards. I want to say a thought maybe. Now, it does say that the discard piles are open information. I remember reading that somewhere. So here's a guy looking through the discard pile. Which is sometimes cheeky in these games, but it does make a point. I mean, I suppose you're talking about a 2-player game though, aren't you? The bot's not doing this right now, is it? I'm doing it, but he's not. Right, well, but Bhutto's shot is not there in the discard pile, and it couldn't have been removed from the game, could it? Because there's only a couple of cards removed from the game. No, it couldn't have been removed from the game because I would have had to play the event. Okay, so that could still come along. So what are we going to do? Now you can see I've still got these 2 slightly down because these can't be played. The events can't be played. This one is a wiretapping, as in the event box, also enhanced measures or renditions. Just taking note, we have wiretapping, so we certainly don't want to play that for the event before we get rid of that leak card. Not that this is playable at the moment anyway, so. Okay, and so place of I'm saying these are not playable. That's right. Yeah, I think the rest are. What was one thing I thought about? Was it this? Yeah, place of either Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, or Jordan has troops. Well, Iraq's got troops. And if US play +3 prestige and then remove the card, +3 prestige would move us up into very high. So that's quite nice. Although I think my initial thought was to use this card, get rid of it, use the 3 ops. And I was probably thinking of a war of ideas, whether it's Afghanistan, Iraq, or possibly Pakistan. It mightn't be a bad idea to do it. And well, actually, no, in Pakistan I only need a 2 card, so I could use loose nuke on that. Well, I'll do that. The worry could be that if I do stall and the bot happens to play either enhanced measures or renditions. The thing is, I would want to say that they're probably going to be US events. And these guys that played the game before probably know right away what these are. So, and if they're US events, the bot can't play them. Yeah. Right. So yeah. So doing a war of ideas in Pakistan then. Fair. So that would be we're just improving its alignment, aren't we? Target neutral or ally Muslim country. It is neutral. If regime change, must have at least 5 more troops and cells. Well, it's not regime change, right? Okay. Role more ideas table. If success, shift neutral to ally, or improve allies' governance by 1. Yeah, it would need to be. So I can't do the governance. I'm just improving its the alignment. If failure by 1 die pip, so if I roll, it's 5, 6 to succeed. So if I roll a 4, we would put an aid marker in there. And then just double checking that there's no other modifiers that apply. You can see we need a 5 or a 6. Oh yeah, we've got a +1. Yeah. Right, okay. We should do that then, eh? I was just saying about being able to get my prestige into very high, which would give me a +2. You know what I'm scared about is this is going to go down, and then we're going to have a penalty there. I'm scared about that. Yeah, I think we should play this event though. I think we should play this event. Play if either Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, or Jordan has troops. You can see Iraq's got troops. If you just play +3 prestige, and then this card gets removed. Yeah, I'm going to do this, and it gets my war ideas in up +2. It might backfire. Right, so I'm going to play this. So Zarqawi or Zarqawi, maybe. Probably none of the above, but so dynamic Al-Qaeda leader, and I've already read that text. So let's have a look at what the event is. 110. That would be a way up in the corner, is it? Yeah. So I'm just trying to find it there. That's it there, isn't it? Yeah. So Zarqawi, Jordanian, 2003 to 2006, Jordanian-born Palestinian Abu Musab al-Zarqawi proved a highly successful recruiter and plotter under conditions of US occupation. In the midst of Zarqawi's campaign of high-profile suicide bombings that seemed to show occupation and government forces powerless to control the country, his group finally declared allegiance to bin Laden and became Al-Qaeda in Iraq. US warplanes killed Zarqawi in 2006, and his movement gradually succumbed. Okay. So I'm going to play that. We're the US. I'm going to get +3 prestige, and we're going to remove that card. So 1, 2, 3, we're up at the top. So yeah, now we want to do some War of Ideas, I think. Right, so that card, that card gets removed, and then the other card that I'd played is discarded because that's my 2 cards. Okay, what did I say we were at? 38 minutes, that's 48. That's 53 minutes actually, yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to just get a quick bit in just now. I'm hoping I've got a little bit of stuff to do. Hoping to get another part in though. And then back to work tomorrow. But yeah, I'll get to the... I was keen to get here last night. I didn't get the chance. Because it starting to get... Well, for me, it started to get moving a bit, and I'm really enjoying it now. I was eager to get back and have another show, but I couldn't make it. So, first thing this morning, I thought I'll get another little bit done and hopefully get a part once I get a couple of chores done. So yeah, probably better to leave it there. It's going to be the jihadist player's turn. So let's see if taking the chance, leaving that may backfire on me. Let's say I'm worried about this dropping down. Watching one video, the guy was the guy that was explaining the differences between the 2 bots. He went through a bit of turn showing you the different flowcharts and how they would work. I mean, I'm just sticking with the new bot, but there were quite some differences he was just looking over. But I think it was him that says that generally, once you've done the regime change, remember you need to be at heart to do the regime change. Once you've done that in Afghanistan to start the game, I think his take on it was you probably want to then move into being soft or prepare to go soft, because every time we test one of these countries, the odds are higher and for them to turn soft, which means the world will start going soft, and then you've got that penalty. So, yeah, I could see that starting to happen, but hopefully we'll get a couple of more ideas on maybe next turn. Because let's say Pakistan would only require a 2 card, and then I could also do. These have both got +1 aid as well, so we're getting +3 on them as long as we can keep our prestige very high. So +3, and you only need a 5, you know. So I only need to roll a 2 on the dice. So yeah, okay, right. I'll get away for now, and I'll be back shortly. Cheers.